What's up, sages? It's me, DM Paul G. Another stream of Lore Academia. Man, really miss this space. Something's going on with our bot. Let's see if the commands work in chat. Moray. No, what's wrong? It's not working. I have to figure that out. But yeah, anyway, welcome everyone. It's me, DM Paul G. What we do here, what do I do? I'm an adventure writer, mostly for Adventures League, which is the 5th edition, D&D 5th edition organized play system. And I'm also one of the storyline coordinators for the Moonshade Isles here at Baldman Games, together with the super awesome Savannah Houston McIntyre. We're back streaming again. We're here to extract as much lore as we can from different adventures, different scrolls that we find, and learn as much as we can about the Moonshades. So, for those who are new here, joining us for the first time, what do we do in the stream? Simple. We we just read adventures and we try to learn as much as we can lore-wise about the setting. In this case, the Moonshade Isles. So, if you've missed our previous stream, it's all in YouTube. You can just search DM Paul G because apparently the links are not working. So we've read like the Living Forgotten Realms, Moonshade Isles Adventures. Now we're trying to finish. We're trying to go through the whole Rising Shadow storyline, which is, crafted by a lot of writers, trilogy leads, and of course, Eric Mengi. Who's like genius level in terms of crafting all of this. And let me see if I can show the story path here. There you go. So what's happening here is we went from Moon 1-1 at the top, and then we went to Moon 2, Moon 3, and then we're going to go all the way down to Moon 20. That's the goal. We're going to grind all the way down to Moon 20, and each one of those circles have like 3 adventure each. So we're talking about like 60 plus adventures. That's a lot. What happens after that? We'll try to read more source materials for the Moonshade Isles, and then once we are like super we graduate, we become high sages of Moonshade lore, we'll try to jump to another setting. Okay. And yes, if really need to finish that ad poster thing that I'm doing, because yes, this week, and I think I can say that it's happening this Thursday. This Thursday, it's going to be on a different time slot, Thursday night, I think, or like late afternoon. We're going to have a special stream because we're interviewing one of the authors in the 4E Living Forgotten Realms campaign for the Moonshade Isles. And this is, if you've been joining our stream, if you've been reading with us, then you know that this is my favorite author in the 4E Living Forgotten Realms campaign. Yes, we managed to get him. Our ads work, our videos and everything. We managed to have him here. So, yeah. I think I'll talk to him tomorrow or later today. And then Thursday, we're going to go stream. Yeah. Today, we're going to check to see if, we can actually do the interview or not, technical stuff, all that. Yeah. And then thank you for the haircut. Yes. This is what I have to sacrifice to gain more knowledge about the Moonshades. But anyway, we're all here because we want to learn more about the Moonshades. And right now, we are going through the Moon 3 series. We read Moon 3-1 yesterday. We learned a lot about the Rook Oath clan and the Rustfire Dwarven clan and the orcs, about the enemies. And continue to sage, let us become Baltic. Oh no! Oh no, is this it? It's a work for Baldman Games. Is this the start? Oh boy, that is not good. Anyway, what happens? What happens? All right, we'll see. But oops. Anyway, we're reading Moon 3-2 Within the Tunnels of Dwarven Home, and this, I have to say it up front. I'm gonna be biased on this. All right, because this one is written by Ted Atkinson. For those who don't know, Ted is one of the event coordinators at Baldman Games, mostly for see him a lot in virtual D&D weekend because that happens every month. And yeah, he helps people with everything going on, making sure the event goes on, even the dungeon masters, even like crafts like adventures and specials for us to run at, during holidays and stuff. And I can't really imagine Baldman Games without Ted because he's just that huge of a deal in Baldman Games. So yes, I will be biased when we read this. I am so sorry. Yeah, I'm not a legit critic or reviewer or anything. No, but yeah, we're here to extract lore. Since we're reading an adventure, of course, we're gonna see design process. We're gonna see, encounter format and all that stuff. We're gonna talk about it, sure, but the focus here is the lore. All right. And let's see how much Moon 3-2 and Ted is gonna give us in terms of lore here in this adventure. So within the tunnels of Dwarven Home, if you miss yesterday, this is a continuation of Moon 3-1. So I think there's still a VOD and Twitch channel. You can watch that to know what happened before. But we're gonna continue with the Fair Height trilogy. And yeah, let's go start and see what happens after Moon 3-1. All right. So within the tunnels of Dwarven Home, hope we see more dwarves, more orcs, lots of fighting, and if we get some Moradin groom stuff, that'll be epic. All right. With the immediate threat to clans Rookout and Rustfire quelled, these are the two dwarven clans in the Fairheight range right now. The next step is to clear the tunnels of Dwarven Home, allowing the clans to again move freely between their homes. However, the enemy will not give up their gains so easily, as a new player, a new challenger enters the battlefield. This is part 2 of 3 of the Fair Height trilogy. This is a level 5 to 10 adventure. It's a 4-hour adventure brought to you, of course, by Baldman Games. And again, I'm going to say Ted Atkinson again because I love that guy. All right. Let's go. Let's do this. I hope we get something really, really good. So we're going to skip the introduction, the before the play table, because again, this is all like Adventures League and D&D. Mostly how to run this adventure. So it's like the technical stuff. We're not going to be able to get any lore from this. We start here at the adventure background because this is where we get all the good stuff. Okay. This looks like another long adventure background, but let's read. Excuse me. Here we go. The Fair Height Range in the northern reaches of the island of Alaron is home to the Hill Dwarven Rookout clan, and they have lived there for centuries, mining the ore and crafting objects of iron and steel. Clan Rustfire, which I don't love them. I'm kind of more of I'm pro Rookout right now. Clan Rustfire, a mountain dwarf clan, live beneath the Moonshade Isles of Gwynedd in the Cambro Mountains. The two clans' homes were connected through the Dwarven Home tunnels, and they had a cordial relationship. The two clans traded and shared stories, but otherwise kept it to themselves. Okay, now it's clear because now I see it here that yesterday I was asking if Rustfire live on the Cambro Mountains or beneath the Cambro Mountains. It looks like they live beneath So they live beneath the Moonshae Isles, where Cambro Mountains is located. All right, in the Cambro Mountains. Okay. And I just figured this out that you can actually, I think I figured it out yesterday, that you can highlight stuff in PDF. So now I'm using that. There we go. This is like important stuff that we may need. Anyway, recently, however, the two clans were forced to work together because Clan Rustfire fled their homes through the Dwarven home tunnels to Alaron, another island, when the Dark Fae from Gwyneth attack, driving them out. Forces comprised of mountain orcs, trolls, and other evil humanoids attack the Rook-Oats, seeking to eliminate the last of the dwarves from the mountains and establish their own domain. The combined forces of the two dwarven clans succeeded in establishing footholds in the mountains at High Rock and Blackstone, and even began to push some of the orcs back toward the dwarven home tunnels. These victories were short-lived, however, because a shadow dragon called upon reserve troops from the Feydark, striking fiercely at the dwarves holding Blackstone. Blackstone is no more. Apparently lost, and High Rock was placed under siege. The dwarves swallowed their xenophobic pride and sought help from High King Dared and any adventurers they could find. A group of adventurers brought High Rock to hello, hey 181 Vegas, welcome. Let's go read an adventure and extract as much lore as we can here. Going back, a group of adventurers brought to High Rock by Winnow Rustfire. This is the NPC from the last adventure. Daughter of the Rustfire clan leader, Narbert Rustfire, recently helped the dwarves to rescue her brother, Shale Rustfire, Narbert's son and heir. With that accomplished, the dwarves were able to pursue an assault on the orcs and that had attacked Blackstone, retaking entrances to the settlement and discovering that some of its inhabitants had survived despite being cut off from their clan leaders. Oh, I didn't even realize that yesterday, because so the location where we save Shale Rustfire was actually in Blackstone. So we just retook that location. So we got it back. All right. The lore that we're investigating, Moonshae Isles. That's what, yeah. So what lore are we investigating? Yes, we're investigating the Moonshae Isles. And this is going to be a long journey, my friend. If you're working, if you're, I don't know, going to school, driving, feel free to put me in the background. If you're about to go to sleep, use my voice so you can fall asleep. And hopefully, you know, unconsciously, you start absorbing some of these lore that we're extracting from the adventure. If you're like me, you love reading stuff and overthink scenarios, theorycraft, and you know, assume stuff as to what has happened, then feel free to stay, join me in chat, and yeah, I need fellow sages to help me learn what has happened here. Anyway, in the wake of this good news, the dwarves have determined to press their advantage and make one final push to drive their foes back to the dwarven home tunnels to Gwyneth. What the dwarves don't know is that a shadow dragon, oh, all right, how are we going to pronounce this? Priambrand, I think, oh, there we go, there's a pronunciation guide. Priambrand has allied with the Fomorian followers of Queen Konome and is driving local orcs and creatures she controls to clear an area around her new lair. All right, let's get some stuff here, because NPCs we have, or villains we have, Priambrand, who is a shadow dragon that works with the Dark Fae. And then we have Queen Konome. Let's see. Who is Queen Koname? Well, I guess we should read to know, right? We should read and learn more. All right. So what do we have here? So we have Aiden Rustfire, a young dwarf who's a survivor of Blackstone assault by the Shadow Forces. He stumbled into the Dwarven crypts 2 days ago and locked himself in where he hoped the monsters wouldn't find him. Bronwyn has harassed him relentlessly for most of that time, telling him he doesn't belong here. He's in way over his head and doesn't know it. All right, so we have Aiden Rustfire. What else do we have? Bronwyn. Rook Oath. I really, so far, how they portrayed the Rook Oaths here, I don't like them. Oh, is it? No, sorry, not the Rook Oaths, the Rustfire. But since we have a Rustfire that's getting bullied, let's see if my heart will kind of soften up against this clan. Bronwyn Rook Oath, a former leader of Clan Rook Oath. Oh, wow, okay. But I thought in well, let's read the whole thing. Noted in clan histories for her sharp. Oh, it's a woman. Okay, I was gonna say that it's like a matriarchy in Clan Rook Oath, so thought it was gonna be like a dude can't be like the leader here, but Bronwyn is a female name, apparently a woman's name apparently. So yeah, okay. It appears that being dead has had no impact to those facets of her personality, and she now guards the halls of her clan eternally. She's suspicious of outsiders, although she dislikes the orcs and other monstrous invaders of her home even more. All right. Previous leader of the Rook Oath clan. I think she's dead. She's dead. Okay. Derek Rustfire. Man, so many NPCs. Rustfire. A distant cousin of Winnow. Cousin of Winnow. Rustfire and speaker for the survivors of Blackstone. Alright. Derek is a veteran of many battles with the orcs and has seen much bloodshed. He's grim, purposeful, and relentless. Okay. Survivor of Blackstone. Here we go. This is what I want to know. Queen Koname. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be read, but I think it's Koname, right? Koname, the Dark Fomorian Queen of the Feywild Kingdom of Vol Tomil. She has found a passage from that plane to the island of Oman. From there, she extends her grasp to other parts of the Moonshade, scheming and sending out her fellow Fomorian servants to enact some currently unknown plan. Wow. Okay. So she's from a different part of the Feywild. You know, this is something that I'm really curious about because in the Moonshade Isles, obviously there's a lot of Fey. But I always thought that, or initially, that the Seelie Fays are all ruled or like follows the ruler of the kingdom of Sarafal, which is High Lady Ordalf in this scenario right now. And then the Unseelie Fae follows the hag, the Miss Hag Orphania in Winterglen, the Dark Forest of Winterglen, also in the Isle of Glen. But then you have these other, diplomats, nobles, and powerful entities from the Feywild that is not from the court of these two, and they're kind of entered the material plane here in the Moonshade Isle. So I'm wondering what's the jurisdiction of that. So if Queen Koname counts as a Unseelie Fae, does she report automatically to or give respects to Orphania, the leader here in the Moonshade Isles of the Unseelie Fae, or she doesn't respect her authority and she does what she pleases, right? Because if that's the case, that means we want to know how many factions of Fey creatures are here in the Moonshaes. It's not just the Seelie Fae of Seraphal. It's not just the Unseelie Fae of or the Dark Fae that led by Orphania. It might be more. And is that supposed to be? Is that how the structure is supposed to be? Or it's just two leaders and then everybody else that comes from the Feywild have to report to these two leaders? Or there are like different factions of Feywild groups here in the Moonshaes. So let's see if we can reveal that. If not, then that's something that's good to expand on in future storylines, right? So let's see. Okay, scheme. From there, she extends her grasp. We got that, and then we have the Shadow Dragon, Preumbrant. The Shadow Black Dragon has spent years within the bleak confines of the Shadowfell and is hungry to spread the darkness and evil of that plane. To that end, Preumbrant has returned to set up her domain in the realms, and she chose the Fairheight range. She has allied temporarily with Queen Konome of Vortamil and local orc tribes to do so. Okay. Let's see. Where's that? Shadow Black Dragon. Another question that we had yesterday is that the orcs that are here in the Fairheight range, are they included in the Dark Fae Legion that drove off the Rustfire clan from Gwyneth to Alaron? Or are they the local orcs that are, just hates anyone here and starting to send them away or kill them? Here, it says she has allied temporarily with the local orcs, right? So we're under the assumption now that these are not the orcs from Gwyneth. They're not part of the Dark Fae group, because here in the adventure background, let me highlight this part just in case. Here in the adventure background, where is that? Here. Right? Is this how you highlight? There you go. It says the forces combine of mountain orcs, trolls, and other evil humanoids then attack the root boat. So from here, I thought that this is from the Dark Fae group, but apparently it's not. It's like the local evil groups here in Fairheight range. Okay. Now things are starting to become clear. And I wonder, right, if you only played this one time, if you only read this one time as well, and ran this to a group of players, will you be able to get all that information right away? I guess I'm just stupid, right? I need to read it a lot of times before I get it. But yeah, good thing we're doing this. And then we have Winnow. Winnow Rustfire is, again, a priest of, there we go, a priest of Berinar Truesilver, dwarven deity of home and protection. She wears her long hair in many braids, and she has an earnest demeanor for strangers. With friends, she's relaxed with a wicked sense of humor. So you've seen her in Moon 1-1. We've also seen her Moon 3-1 and now Moon 3-2. I think she's going to be here as well. So introduction or adventure overview. What do we have here? We have 4 parts. Oh, this is going to be a long adventure, I think. The adventurers continue to assist Clan Rookout and Clan Rustfire in their battles against the invaders. The dwarves have pushed the enemy back to Blackstone, reuniting with the survivors there. Plans are underway to force the enemy back through the Dwarven home tunnels, which run from Blackstone to beneath the islands of Gwyneth under the Strait of Alaron. Okay. So now they're pushing the enemy from Blackstone back to the tunnels. So are they like the villains that are locals here in Fairheight, or are they the Dark Fae group? Man, all right, we need to know. But just in case, so it'll be clear for us, let me show you my super advanced map. All right, using Microsoft Paint. Fairheight range, this is where we are. So High Rock is currently where Clan Rookoat and Clan Rustfire were staying. We were sent on an adventure in Moon 3-1 to save Shale Rustfire and basically push the enemies away from Blackstone, which is right here at the other end of Fairheight range. Now, in Fairheight range, there is a tunnel. The Dwarvenholm Tunnel, which goes here. This dotted line here, that one. There we go. I guess I should zoom out so we can see more stuff, right? Yeah. So there. So you have that here, and see the tunnels of Dwarvenholm. So the tunnels of Dwarvenholm, it's basically part of the Deep Shays. The Deep Shays is the Underdark. And in the Underdark, there are a group of islands. And that's the Deep Shays, basically. So, how do I explain this? Obviously, there's an Underdark in the Forgotten Realms. Just below the sea, the land, and then whatever. And then the islands below the Moonshae Isles, which is in the Underdark, is called the Deep Shays. And in the Deep Shays, you have this tunnel. The Tunnel of Dwarvenholm, which before the Rustfire and Rookoat merge, these two clans used to trade, and as mentioned in the adventure background. But anyway, this tunnel goes all the way down here and then connects to the Cambro Mountains. And beneath the Cambro Mountains, again, in the Underdark or the Deep Shays, that's where the Clan Rustfire live, supposedly. So let's move it from oldest events to latest. Rustfire live below Cambro Mountains. Dark Fae attack the Rustfire. So they move from Cambro Mountains, use the tunnels to escape, and then they arrive here in Alaron, the Isle of Alaron, and ask the dwarves here in the Fairheight range, can we live here? Is it okay? Because we got under attack. And the Rookoat clan goes, yeah, sure, of course. But then the Dark Fae start following them, attacking them. That's what we're trying to clear out here. Is it the Dark Fae that's attacking them now, or is just some villains or whatever bad creatures that live here in the Fairheight range? And yeah, so that's what's happening now. But we managed to take back Blackstone, and now we want to push back whatever enemies we have that's coming out of the tunnels of Dwarvenholm away. And I guess that's what's the adventure gonna be about, right? Okay. When it all went wrong, at a meeting near Blackstone, a report arrives that a battle has gone terribly wrong. Some new enemy has demolished a company of dwarves, and the adventurers are asked to investigate. At the scene of the battle, the adventurers find evidence that the dwarven company was killed by shadow creatures. Moments later, those creatures attack. New alliance. While following evidence left by the shadow creatures, the adventurers come across a new foe, a Fomorian giant with a group of orcs. After defeating them, the adventurers can question prisoners or find evidence of the bodies of the orcs have formed that the orcs have formed an alliance with the Fomorian leader called Queen Koname. It is not clear where the Fomorian came from. They are known to be on the Isle of Oman, but have never been seen on or beneath Alaron. Okay. And then part 3, is ancestral knowledge. The adventurers are asked to escort Winnow Rustfire, a priest, into the ancestral vaults to consult the dwarven spirits there about what's happening. This is a very dangerous plan, as the spirits can turn hostile. The adventurers need to use all of the skills at their disposal to assist Winnow and keep her alive. And part 4, the spirits provide information that points Winnow and the adventurers to a lost library. At the library, the books reveal the location of a Kerwell, a lost moonwell beneath the mountains. Holy crap. Okay. So I think that's important. Where's our notes? All right. So we have a Kerwell, which is the name of a lost moonwell beneath the mountains of what? Mountains of Fairheight, I'm assuming. All right. For those who don't know, a moonwell is basically to the Earth Mother, which is like the primal spirit and deity to a lot of the folk. Double F. That's what you basically call the locals here in the Moonshae Isles, and also what you call like a group of human settlers in the Moonshae Isle as well. To the Earth Mother, it's like their window to the material plane. To those who worship the Earth Mother, it's a source of power, as that's where the Earth Mother kind of channels her power as well. And this is how the Earth Mother can see if everything is going well in her land, which is the Moonshae Isles. But we found a lost moonwell in this adventure. And as they're learning this, more shadow creatures attack. They were sent by Priumbrant, a shadow dragon that has taken up residence nearby, forming a 3-way alliance with the Orcs and Fomorians. Wow, okay. So these are all separate groups then. So the Orcs, we have the Orc tribe, we have the Fomorians of Queen Konome, and then we have the shadow dragon, all fighting the dwarves of Clan Rustfire and Clan Rookout. Wow. Good luck to the dwarves. Will they survive? If we have the Friends of Winnow Rustfire, okay. We are contacted directly. So these are adventure hooks. Again, if you're running an adventure or you're running a campaign and you want to send them to the Moonshae Isles or want them to play this particular adventure, we use these adventure hooks. We tell them to the players, or we kind of modify them a bit so that their story would, it makes sense as to why they're here in the Moonshae Isles, specifically at the Fairheight range, and why they're playing this adventure. If they played the previous adventure, Moon 3-1, then the dwarves of Clan Rustfire and Rookout are grateful for their efforts, but they still ask us to continue helping the dwarves take back their lands. And if you haven't played any of the Moonshae adventures, you have this generic story hook, which is the leaders are currently in their temporary homes atop the Fairheights, but sending forces to retake Blackstone at the western end of the mountain range. And you hear that the leaders are, looking for adventurers to assist them. Yeah. All right, this feels like it's gonna be a long adventure, or not. We'll see. As it has 4 parts, right? And then you have this introduction. So you have the introduction, you have an estimated duration. That basically tells you like how much time you should spend in this portion of the adventure. So during introduction, it should equate to like 15 minutes of play, or at least around that range. That's basically what it's saying. And then you have the box text, which is what you read to your players out loud. You can paraphrase it if you want, but with me, I just read it aloud. Let's go. Do this. A few days of rapid travel from the dwarven settlement at High Rock have brought you here to the tunnels surrounding Blackstone at the western end of the Fair Height Range on Alaron. Following the specific directions you were provided has led you to Winnow Rustfire, a well-regarded priest of the goddess Berenar True Silver, and daughter of the Rustfire clan leader Narbert. Although Clan Rustfire and Clan Rookout recently won a great victory against the orcs and other creatures that have been pushing them out of the Fair Height Range, they still seek help to fully retake that area around Blackstone in preparation for driving their enemies back through the Dwarven home tunnels to the Rustfire clan lands on Gwenyt. Winnow's tightly bound braids catch the light of a nearby torch as she and another dwarf finish up a quiet discussion. He looks rather the worse for wear, his armor showing several considerable gashes, some of them still stained with what is likely his blood. Winnow holds her large mace at her side, and both of them look alert for any signs of danger. And for a map of the Moonshades, we have that. We already showed you where we're at, so we're not going to look at that appendix. So what can we learn? So after introductions, we learned this information. So Darik and the other dwarves of Blackstone were preparing for a major offensive against the orcs and other invaders from the Dwarven home tunnels almost a month ago, when they were attacked by a huge number of enemies, more than their scouts had reported to be in the area. The sudden assault caught everyone by surprise, and the dwarves were unable to get a message to High Rock before they were cut off. Survivors fled into the surrounding tunnels in small groups and only recently managed to meet back up with each other as the orcs began to retreat. Winnow has explained about the coordinated attack on the orcs that happened once outside adventurers were able to attempt the rescue of her brother Shale. If no one played that adventure, assume the rescue was successful. Okay, so that's the canon, because in 3.1, Shale can either live or die. Like, there are two conclusions there, but I was telling yesterday, there has to be like a canon ending. Like, what will the future adventures will use? Since this is a trilogy of adventure, and it looks like if no one played that adventure, the assumption here is she'll survive. With the orcs and their allies in retreat, the survivors of Blackstone have gathered together and began to fortify the area against further attacks. Stockpiling supplies, doing out food, medical aid, and sending out scouting patrols to keep an eye on the nearby tunnels. As they absorb the information, as we absorb the information, a bedraggled and exhausted manager runs up with a report for the dwarven leaders and what has happened. A harried-looking female dwarf dashes up to the tunnel towards Winnow and Darik, wearing what you recognize as the uniform of a Rookout messenger. As she nears, she gasps out of breath and falls to one knee. There's been an attack. She pants exhaustedly as she searches for the words, gesturing back the way she came. A whole scout patrol wipe out just up that way, half an hour. Winnow hefts her mace and then looks at the other two dwarves with her before turning to you. I'll safeguard them for the moment while you find out what has happened. Come back to me as soon as you know the facts. Okay. That's what we have. We do character introduction, and then we go and check when it all went wrong. So this is a 45 minute duration type of play. Let's see what has happened. The adventurers rush to the site of the attack and find that the dwarves were slain by no weapons they recognize. Huh. The only obvious clues are a blackness around some non-dwarven blood that seem to soak up ambient light before they can investigate further. They are attacked. Hello, just finished my technical assessment test. Wow, hello, you're still awake. Good job. I hope you did well in your technical assessment test. May the Earth Mother bless your result with flying colors. All right. Let's see. But good job being here. Wow, so proud. With the help of Mr. Google. Good job, good job. All right. Do you know the result if you pass already? And Ninja got... Wow. All right. Let's see, we have help here. Did I help at all or no? No? I guess not. Not no results yet. Okay. Good luck. Good luck again. We'll find all the luck you can get. So all the luck that we can find in the Moonshae Isles, sending it to that assessment. So hopefully you pass that. Okay. Going back here. So where are we? What's happening? We're trying to find some the scouts. The Dwarven scouts got attacked by something. We want to know what that is. So in terrain, the stone is worn smooth with generations of passage. Are we outside or inside? Okay. Oh, we're in the tunnels. We're in the tunnels around Blackstone. Okay. So we're in the tunnels. The bodies. We see 4 dwarven bodies and an orcish one are in a wide area. I can't read anymore. Wide area of the tunnel right before it splits off in 2 directions. Okay. So getting Y-shaped there. Their blood has pooled around them. And with a medicine check, we identify that a number of fatal wounds on the dwarven bodies came from various weapons. Fractured bones, cuts, and stab wounds abound. The cause of death for the orc is apparent. A dwarven battle axe right in the middle of his skull. Alright, so at least the dwarves got one, right? Bloodstains. The blood around the bodies are not the only pools on the stone. There are trails heading away along both tunnels across where the players enter the cavern. Okay, with a nature or survival check, we recognize that the bloodstain trails leaving the room indicate that wounded dwarves were still alive and got split up trying to escape the scene, pursued by enemies including more wounded orcs. Okay. Some of the blood droplets are very strange, however. They seem to suck up any light the players bring with... Oh, this is cool. I like that. All right. I like these simple effects that they... Like the fluff or flavor these amazing authors put in their adventure. Something that you can easily imagine. So you have these like in the blood droplets... You see that some, like there are spots in them that just sucks up the light. So it's just really cool. With a Arcana religion check, they recognize this as a sign that the creature the blood came from is a native of the Shadowfell, which is the cousin plane, or its cousin plane, the Feydark. Oh. I'm trying to process. A native of the Shadowfell or its cousin plane, the Feydark. So does that mean Feydark is different from Shadowfell? I always thought that Feydark is just like a part of Shadowfell. I guess it's different, right? Is this like Feydark is the opposite of Feywild? Or I thought it's like the whole thing. Shadowfell and Feydark are the same thing. That we have to find out. Okay. Came from... Yeah, that's what I want to know. If it's... I thought that Feydark is like an area in the Shadowfell. They're not like two separate planes. Okay. Alright. As soon as the players begin to move up either fork of the passage, following the bloodstained trails or in search of whatever attacked the dwarves, the enemies return to make sure they finish the job. 2 Shadow Quicklings lead a group of 4 orcs down one passage, while a Shadow Dancer and 2 more Shadow Quicklings go down the other side of the fork in an attempt to flank the adventurers. This is going to be a combat scenario. Okay. So these quicklings, what do they look like? Tiny blurs in the air, seem like quicklings, but where those shimmer brightly like the normal quicklings, when seen, these ones, they appear to melt away into each shadow they pass through. Ah, that's cool. Because they're not normal quicklings, they're shadow quicklings. The orcs, or the Shadow Dancer, they have some coins and a potion of greater healing in a small onyx dragon statuette. We got a statue. We got a jade statue on the previous adventure. Here we got a small onyx dragon statue. I think also it was also a dragon statue that we got in Moon 3-1. But if you're an adventurer and you collect, statuettes and action figures, not action figures, but like small statues, right? This is the adventure for you. If you have a hobby of collecting statuettes, this is it. Just read red, blue, yellow, and pink. Yeah. I think, there's one in... Alright, I know I'm gonna mess things up, but oops, that's not how it's... Alright, let's see. Where is that? Gotta catch them all. But we need to go back. There you go. This is the one. Just really quick. I want to remember what the statue was. Nope. Not that statue. Treasure. Oh. There we go. Jade statue of... it's not a dragon. Of a Tanaruk, which is like a demon orc. So that's what we got. So yeah. Anyway, if you're a collector, right? If you're a collector of statuettes, if you're an anime fan and you collect like statue figures, right? Of like Naruto, One Piece, and all that stuff. It's the same thing here as an adventure. You collect like a jade statue of a Tanaruk, and then here you can also get a onyx dragon statue. 1/7 1/7 scale Tanaruk statue. Right? Exactly, right? Could be pretty rare. Collectors are out there. Now you have an onyx dragon statuette, right? I have a wide range of dragon waifus collected over the years back at my room at the end. Exactly. So this is good to have. I actually like it when the treasures are not just gold and gems, and it's actually like flavored to be like a specific object. So there. Tricks of the trade. So you have the Quickling, Shadow Dancers. We're not gonna read through this because this is basically combat. We're not really gonna get like lore out of it. So it's just adjustments that in combat. So we fight these shadow creatures depending on which path we take. And this is actually fast because we're in part 2 already. Okay. So after the fight, what happens? When the adventurers report back to Winnow, the dwarves are troubled to hear of the shadow creatures. Winnow and Derek now provide the following additional information. If we didn't discover it, Winnow's knowledge of religion allows her to recognize that the creatures with the strange blood must come from another plane, either the Shadowfell or the Feydark. We need to... You know what? I'm curious now. So Mr. Google, help me please. So Feydark. D&D. The Feydark was the echo of Toral's Underdark in the Feywild. Oh, got it. So the Feydark is in the plane of Feywild. All right. And it is the echo of the Underdark area. I get it now. Okay. So yeah, they're different planes. I was wrong. I was thinking something else. Okay. So in the Feywild, in the plane of the Feywild, there's an Underdark. And that Underdark area is called the Feydark. It makes so much sense now. That's why it was Feydark. All right. Okay. Mind blown. Now it all makes sense. Okay. We're good. We're good. Okay, so it's either from the Shadowfell or the Underdark area in the Feywild called Feydark. All right. And do you call the people in the Feydark Dark Fey? Because there's a Dark Fey term being used here. So I want to know if the if the Dark Fey means Feywild creatures that live in the Feydark or evil Feywild creatures. That's why you call them Dark Fey. Let's see. Later. Hopefully we get See, I love this adventure already. Made me realize some stuff. She suspects the latter given the descriptions of the enemies we just encountered. Darik mentions that the tunnels the enemies came from are near an old Rook-Oath ancestral vault that the dwarves of Blackstone mentioned to their Rustfire guests. The messenger confirms the location is one that hasn't been visited in decades but housed respected ancestral spirits. Winnow suggests that Darik and the messenger return to the survivors from Blackstone and let them know what has happened while they wait for the promised reinforcement. She'll accompany the adventurers to safeguard the vaults from the orcs and whatever other creatures they may be dealing with. Winnow promises to make sure the adventurers are compensated for any important Rook-Oath burial artifacts they can save and bring back to where the orcs cannot steal or despoil them. Okay. And we have a way how to play Winnow Rustfire. We're not really going to read that. Good stuff. Following the directions of Darik and the Rook-Oath messenger, lead the adventurers to the entry for the ancestral vaults. All right, I'm excited to go in. When they arrive, an orc claw of Lutek is examining carvings of the large stone double doors, while Mork, a Fomorian, looks on impatiently. I think this is the name. Mork is the name. We should put it here. Okay. Looks impatiently. Two orc red fangs of our Shargas are hiding and watching the area for interruption. See map in Appendix 3C. Okay? And then this is what happens. The tunnels abruptly widens out into a small cavern and then narrows again to the north. Set into the western wall is a large set of double doors formed of solid stone and replete with numerous carved images of dwarves engaged in work, interspersed with abstract symbols, I can't read, decorative panels, and rune work. Some large message in common is inscribed in large letters across the top of both doors. In front of the doorway is a female orc bearing a necklace of bones with long lacquered claws. She examines the door as a tall, misshapen, dark-skinned giant paces nearby, impatiently muttering something under its breath. Okay. We fight again. So this is second combat. Once fighting occurs, okay, focus on protecting the Fomorian. Got it. Warding Bond, we have that. And then Mork the Fomorian is nominally in charge of this band and frequently dictates tactics, call out targets, okay? The orcs occasionally listen to him. Okay, and the spellcaster in particular quickly drops her bond and looks to surrender. Got it. The door. So once the fight is over, let's see what happens to the door. What we can do with the door. Large, heavy double doors are locked. Trap as well. And although the orcs and the Fomorian haven't yet discovered it, passive perception allows us to notice that there are some faint marks in front of the doorway that indicate some kind of energy blast has emanated from it in the past. Oh boy. There's a large, obvious inscription among the various carved images across the front in common, which reads, "Speak, friend, and enter." This is a trap for the foolish, and I think you have to say it in Dwarvish. You have to say the word friend in Dwarvish. That's my guess. This is a trap for the foolish because Enwari and loudly saying the word friend in common or Dwarvish activates a trap. Nope. Lord of the Ring reference probably, but yeah, it's not gonna work because my solution is to say it in Dwarvish and and it activates the trap, so that's not it. Blasting those in front of the doorway with radiant light, forcing open. Okay. If you force it open, it also activates a trap. All right. Yeah, it looks like Lord of the Rings reference here. All right. Instead of a I forgot. Trap specific for Lord of the Ring lovers. Yep. And then the enemy that we will face here is a shadow dragon instead of anyway, small inscriptions in Dwarvish along one side of the doorway, found by anyone who takes an action to examine it, spell out the message. One of these tiny things is not like the others. Okay. Nearby, among the decorative stonework, are four small inset squares in different types of stone. Any dwarf immediately recognizes them as granite, basalt, marble, and obsidian, as well as will characters who succeeded in nature check learn that. Pressing the marble square, the only one not an igneous rock. Wow. Into the door results in a loud click, causing the trap to deactivate and the door to swing open. If the player seems stuck and have already activated the trap once, Winnow comes over, figure out how it works. Okay, so this is a good way. Again, it's a dwarven vault. It's a vault made by dwarves. Stonework is very important here. Unfortunately, if you're a player, you don't know what an igneous rock is. If you've forgotten it from elementary school, then we're gonna have a big problem, right? Good thing there's a nature check involved to make it easier for us. And if we can't figure it out, Winnow is here to solve it. But yeah, am I being biased right now? I think, but I think the author specifically made it a Lord of the Rings trap because players will get that right away, right? They'll have the same reaction as we did. And hey, isn't this from Lord of the Rings? Then I know the solution. Just say friend. And then boom. Nope. That's not it. That's not how it works. The trap, how to disable the trap is totally different from what you have there at the door. You have to grab a piece of rock, put it in the indent, and then that's how it will open. So I think that's a good way of putting a trap there. So crafting it in a meta plus very flavorful dwarven uh, door trap. So, am I saying it because I love that? Probably. But yeah, I enjoy that trap. Okay. What happens? So the trigger friend, you get radiant damage if you trigger the attack, the trap. Tricks of the trade. This is for fighting the ones at the door, adjusting the encounter, and then development. After the fight, any captured enemies can reveal that the Fomorian is one of those led by Queen Koname of Vortomil. Let's see if Vortomil exists or like or the setting, the place already exists, or this is something new. I think, oh, there's a result in Google. Vortomil was a realm within the Feywild that was connected to Oman's Isle in the Moonshae Isles during the... What? Okay. This is... Wow. This is like legit lore. This lore exists already. If... Yeah, Google result. Yeah, if you go to Wiki, this is... a place in the Feywild connected in the Oman Isle in the Moonshaes during the late 15th century. Okay. Vortomil was ruled by Fomorians and its queen is Koname. Excursions from Vortomil to Oman's Isle were quite common as Queen Koname wanted to capture a great number of slaves to use to assault the city of Shinaelestra in the Feywild. This is information available in Backdrop, the Moonshae Isles. I think this is like a 4E source. But yeah, it exists. Koname, do we have information about Koname? Okay. Okay, all right. So it's basically she's connected her domain to Oman and then wants to use it as that base to envelop the rest of the Moonshae to conquer the whole Moonshae. This will provide her... Okay. I don't know what the city of Shinaelestra is, but... Wow. That exists. That's new lore for me. Let's find where Oman is. So with our super advanced map, right now we're in the Isle of Alaron, and this is Oman. Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb. You can see it right here. It is right here. Vortomil is right there on the map. Okay. All right. See? It's a good thing there are two storyline coordinators for the Moonshae Isles at Bad One Games. Because, yeah, these things I easily miss. But we discovered it together, right? Unless you already knew. All right. Okay, so this tells me that there are different kingdoms, fake kingdoms in the Moonshae Isles, and not one kingdom controls everything. So this is kind of like a confirmation that in Gwyneth we have the fake kingdom of Sarifal, which rules over all the Fae or Silly Fae in the Isle of Gwyneth. Once you go out of Gwyneth, then you will have, or in Oman, there is another kingdom of the Fae, or at least a land of the Fae, and this time I'm assuming it's an Unseelie Fae, which is the lands of Vortomil. All right, that makes so much sense now. Okay, good to know. Good to know. All right. We're learning a lot of stuff right now. Um, because when I started adventuring here in the Moonshae Isles, my initial thought is like, all right, all of the face, it doesn't matter if you're in Norland, in Moray, in Alaron or Snowdown. If you're Silly Fae in the Moonshae Isles, most probably you report or you are ruled by the High Lady Ordalf in Sarafal. Or if you're an Ancili Fae, doesn't matter which isle you're in, then the Miss Hag or Fanya in Winter Glen kind of rules over you. But no, there are different kingdoms and factions and domains of faith here in the Moonshae Isles, apparently. Or at least there are two that are mentioned, and it's on the map, Vortomil and Sarifal. Good stuff. Now we're learning. Okay. Going back. Where were we? Winnow points out that the Fomorians have never been seen before Alaron, in the Moonshae, many miles away from a large stretch of open water. The captives cannot or will not say how Mork got to Alaron. Instead, they gloat and say that the distance will soon no longer be an issue and that the dwarves' days are numbered. Why do they hate the dwarves so much? If none remain alive, the Orc Claw of Lutek has a crumpled note on her body in common that states, Queen Koname is eager to see the fruits of their alliance and trusts that the orcs will obey her envoy and will be richly rewarded for doing so. Once it becomes clear that the fight is over, Winnow tells the adventurers that she wants to enter the vault. She wants to make sure that nothing else has managed to get in to disturb the ancestral resting place, and if any of the Rook Oat spirit remains active, to see if she can consult them about the events that has transpired. Okay. All right then. As a Rustfire, let me just go enter the ancestral, resting place of the dead from a different dwarven clan, because why not, right? Ancestral knowledge. Once within the ancestral vault, we are quickly confronted by the angry spirit of Bronwyn Rookout, the previous leader of the Rookout clan, unhappy at the intrusion. She challenges them to prove themselves to her before she will give them any aid. Failure will have increasingly severe consequences. So it's the vault is cleanly worked stone, made out of cleanly worked stone, and show care with which the Rook Oats laid their dead to rest. Carved scenes on the walls show dwarves at work, demonstrating their skills and great achievements. Okay. We have that, so it should be dark. Okay, so what happens when we enter? Within the vaults, the air is cool and dry. Unlike the slightly uneven tunnels and caverns outside the doorway, what you find is an uneven, perfectly regular passageway that stretches due ahead for 20 feet before reaching a perpendicular hallway, moving off to either side. All of the walls are carved and painted to beautifully display great works and achievements of dwarves engaged in craft, warfare, and other pursuits. What immediately draws your gaze is the glowing dwarven spirit that comes floating towards you out of the wall directly in front of you. The spirit is that of a female dwarf in well-crafted armor, her eyes wide and angry. Though she bears no obvious weapons, she does not slow as she speeds through the air towards you, showing no signs of stopping. Who are you? Why do you come to desecrate my resting place? Okay, Due to the construction of the vault and the protections that were laid into it, the spirit of Bronwyn Rookout is immune to all damage while her corpse remains undisturbed. Knowing this, she doesn't hesitate as she approaches the adventurers, coming to a halt within a few feet of the first to enter the passageway. Alright, so we get confronted right away as soon as we enter the vault. She continues to demand answer if no one provides her with one. If they don't want to tell the truth or for some reason, Winnow is the one that speaks, naming herself a friend of the Rookouts, and then wait for the players to take the lead once more. Okay? And with this interaction, we get the following information from Bronwyn. Her name is Bronwyn Rookout, former leader of her clan and a direct ancestor of Brunhi, named after Bronwyn's grandmother. Oh, okay. Her body was placed in this resting place after her death, along with other honored members of Clan Rookout. She knows of Clan Rustfire and is not kindly disposed towards them. Her mother was involved for years in a dispute with them over a rich vein of ore discovered in the Dwarven home tunnels. Bronwyn views them, and by the extension Winnow, as untrustworthy and dishonorable thieves, something Winnow bristles at but doesn't respond to. Okay. She's aware of the invasion of the tunnels by orcs and other creatures. Their presence angers and disgusts her. She also knows something else in the tunnels, something dark and powerful. She refuses to say more to those she doesn't trust. Okay? After you feel that we know enough about Bronwyn, she abruptly huffs and then comes to a decision. If they can prove themselves by gaining the favor of the other Rookout ancestor entombed here, she will treat with them further. If they fail to sway with others to their side, they will face the wrath of the angry spirits, and she will leave them to solve their problems on their own. Okay? So regardless, as a note here of how many ancestors the players interact or impress, Bronwyn ultimately reveals the location of the library and the danger presented by the Shadow Dragon. Okay? This is more a mechanic, so we're not going to read through that. Okay. What is the challenge? There are 10 tombs in the main level, or 10 challenges? Main level of the vault, each behind an unlocked stone door and containing a sarcophagus with a dwarven ancestral spirit that rises to speak with them. Each has a different condition under which they support the adventurers, and each reward them individually. The more success they have, the better their chances of convincing Bronwyn to help them. Reward creative thinking and feel free to be liberal in granting inspiration on attempts to influence the ancestors using clever solution. Conversely, you should encourage the players not to keep using the same trick over and over to increase the DC of checks by to +5, okay? If you are tight on time, it is recommended that you allow the players to first examine the scenes on all doors to help them decide where best to focus their efforts, and suggest they limit themselves to 3 or 4 choices. Anytime the adventurers fail a check, the spirit on the sarcophagus retreats and deals the character that failed the check 2d10 psychic damage. Okay. Sucks to be you. There are also 2 hidden rooms on this level. You can do perception and investigation check containing cultural and historical artifacts. Oh, this is what we want to know. That were left here to the spirit's protection. In one of the rooms is a frightened and cowering young Rustfire dwarf named Aiden, who survived the attack on Blackstone and made his way here to hide from the orcs and shadow creatures. He doesn't know much beside that Bronwyn won't leave him alone and keeps telling him he doesn't belong here. If the party previously caused Bronwyn to use her necrotic attack, Aiden is unconscious and must be revived. If she has used it 3 or more times, he's dead and his presence remain unanswered mystery to them. Okay. On the lower level is Bronwyn's sarcophagus containing her remains and the hidden entrance to the library. Again, we cannot hurt Bronwyn unless we actually find her body, her corpse. Any attempt to open any of the sealed sarcophagi or harm any of the spirits results in Bronwyn appearing to give the characters a warning. Subsequent attempts to do so results in her penalizing the characters by flooding the entire vault with a burst of life-draining necrotic energy. Good luck. Any character attempting to take a rest inside the vault or leave receive an admonishment from Bronwyn that she may be dead, but she won't wait around forever for them to prove their worth. Ignoring her warning causes her to use her necrotic attack. Okay. Got it. What's the defense? The vault's creators imbued the very walls with potent magic, allowing the spirits of the ancestors who inhabit it to protect the vault's contents with a devastating burst of energy drain. Okay. So when activated, all living creatures in the vault must make a Constitution saving throw or we take necrotic damage. If we fail by 5 or more, we gain a level of exhaustion. Okay. Good to know. Also, I don't know if in the US you have this. Here in the Philippines, we're trying to go strawless. So they have the plastic cups, and then they change the part a bit so that you don't have to use straw. Instead, there's like a small hole where I thought before that's where you place the straw. Apparently, no. You just open this like protruding part here, and then that's where you drink. So you don't have to use a straw anymore. I don't know. I just want to say that because it felt weird to me before, and now I want to show it off to everyone. Anyway, yeah, I know it's still plastic, so I don't know. I don't know what to say. I guess it's less plastic, but no, they're still making plastic, so it's still useless. I don't know. But whoever thought of that, I don't know. Just think of it like in a meeting. You know what? How can we make people drink without using a straw during takeout? Yeah. 10 points for Gryffindor for the attempt. Anyway, main floor. All right. So let's look at the map. So this is Appendix 3D. We went to 3C a while ago. We're gonna scroll down a bit. This is the Monche map. This is the 3B. This is the patrol that we fought. Yeah, it's spread into 2 ways, right? And then this is where we saw the gate, the Fomorian, right? This is where the enemies are at. And then oh, this is gonna be big. Okay. Oh, I think we're gonna be reading a lot of stuff. That's A to J K H I J K. I think up to K. That's 11 J K. Yeah, it's 11 rooms. Okay, that's big. Let's go back. All right, it's not that long. Okay. Oh, there are names. What's this? Are these like name of the people? Derry, room A. The door of this room is covered with images of instruments and dwarves who appear to be singing or speaking in front of large crowds. Again, our goal is kind of to get the buy-in of these spirits, right? So Bronwyn will help us. Derry, alright, so it is a name. Derry was a great songwriter and a poet in life and must be convinced of your worth and sincerity in verse. A performance check suffices. If they succeed, Derry provides the character who made a check with advantage on their next charisma check within this adventure. Nice. All right. So we sing a song, recite a poem, should be good. Now, Felwyn, Room B. The door to this room depicts jewelry and famed sculptures, recognized with a successful history check. Felwyn was a lover of all things bright and beautiful. Renowned for her excellent collection of art and jewelry, she still prizes the crafts of dwarven hands, leaving any gem or piece of art worth at least 60 gold pieces on her sarcophagus earns her favor. If we leave a gift of 250 gold pieces or more, her sarcophagus grates open just enough for them to spot a glinting inside that belongs to a potion of heroism, which she allows them. Hey, we can get a potion of heroism for 250 gold. Okay. I don't think that's a fair trade, but get a potion. We can always get gold, but we cannot always get a potion of heroism. We have to play the right adventures to get them. This room contains a large number of urns, clearly ancient craftwork of some soft alabaster stone that the party has not seen anywhere on Alaron. The delicate stoneware must be transported carefully and is worth a considerable amount to dwarven collectors in High Rock. Oh, okay. So we have that. The door of this room shows armies of dwarves in near ranks facing off against hordes of orcs and giants. Winter's interest in life was in warfare. She waged countless attacks on the orcs and other fell creatures of the Fair Heights while alive. With athletics, she displays for her a character's martial prowess. And a character with military background or at least 6 levels of fighter gain advantage on this roll. I like that. A character who succeeds in this check gains advantage on their next attack roll made against an orcish foe in this adventure. Alright, I hope we get to fight some more orcs. Brannon, what can you give us, Brannon? Room E. The door of this room is covered with inscriptions of a dozen languages, both common and exotic, offering numerous adages and famous quotes. Brannon's great love in life was learning new languages. And any character who can speak 5 or more languages, nice, including by magical means, can gain his favor by making a persuasion check in each of those 5 languages. Okay, giving us a advantage on the next intelligence check that we make. Shauna. The door on this room displays carvings showing a number of mechanical constructs and blueprints for various tools and machines. Shauna was well known as a smith who forged intricate pieces for a group of Gaunt's clerics residing in Blackstone. A character who demonstrates similar craft with a successful sleight of hand check and an appropriate tool proficiency earns her favor by granting the crafter set, that she was entombed with. Manadar. I like that name, Manadar. Sounds like Mandar, right? The door of this room depicts a mixture of dwarven crafts, figures on thrones, and battles against a variety of foes. Each show one or more dwarves painted in particular detail, clearly denoting figures of importance. Manadar was a knowledgeable historian of his day, a character who can prove a knowledge of dwarven history which exceeds his own in some area will earn his favor. So you do a history check, DC 18, that's a bit high. A fellow dwarf makes his check with advantage. If you're successful, he provides a party with a clue that reduces the DC of the check for finding room C from 18 to 12. Okay. Clea, we're in H. We're close now. Oh, there's room L. I didn't even see that. The door of this room is covered in magical runes, while none are tied to active spells. They indicate affinity for arcane learning. Huh. Clea was a wizard of some renown and prized scholarship regarding raw energy which spells were formed. If a character expends one spell slot or third level or higher into a softly glowing gem on her sarcophagus, Clea gives her approval and allows that character to touch the gem and gain the benefit of a short rest as its energy flows into them. Any character who attempts to remove the gem gets a stern warning from Bronwyn, and the next attempts will be to use her necrotic attack. All right, this is fascinating because we know that arcane magic is being treated here or being assumed as evil, looked down upon, all that stuff, right? Divine magic is okay because the folk here, the locals, can connect it to as magic blessings of their deity or connected to the Earth Mother and so on. Of course, there will be exceptions. There will be people that can cast spells, arcane spells like Flamstirred. But it's good to know that there's all some of those exceptions exist in dwarven clans as well, like with Clea. So, and the fact that there is a sarcophagus made for her that basically shouts at everyone that, hey, look, Clea knows arcane magic, which is like, I'm assuming same as saying like, hey, look, Clea practices the dark arts or evil magic and so on. So it's either the Rook Oats are more understanding of arcane magic and doesn't just easily connect it with the devil or something that the normal folk here in the Moonchase look down upon. Okay. Emily, room I. The door of this room has beautifully painted scenes showing woods and gardens. Though they are only painted on, the blossoms and leaves seem almost alive. As a lover of nature, Emlyn enjoyed long walks among the hidden dales of the Fair Heights. A character who can cause plants to grow in her presence will earn her favor, okay? And cause her to produce, real berries that has, from the good berry spell. Okay, nice. That's cool. Actually, I like that. Using spells like this to give characters, some boons. Room J. It's a hidden room. Curled up in a ball on the floor is a young dwarf with a Rustfire insignia on the shoulder on his worn uniform. I wish we would learn what are the insignia or like the heraldry for the Rustfire, Rook Oats, and the other factions and families here in the Moonchase, right? He's sobbing softly to himself and has his eyes tightly shut. With a persuasion or intimidation, we convince him to open his eyes and talk to us. He tells us that his name is Aidan, and he's a survivor of Blackstone who stumbled on this place 2 days ago, locked himself in where he hoped the monsters wouldn't find him. Bronwyn has harassed him relentlessly for most of the time, telling him he doesn't belong here. He's more than happy to leave immediately now that the way to Blackstone is clear. The other thing of note in this room is a small chest where a large number of semi-precious stones are carefully piled. Nice. Room K. The door of this room shows a number of images of a dwarf in spike armor. Oh, remember right in Sword Coast, Sword Coast book. Do I have it? Where is that? I'm trying to find it. There we go. I hope they don't fall. I hope my books don't fall. Right. But yeah, here. Yeah, I don't know. It's too much clear. All right. But in this source book, there's actually an armor for dwarves that give you like spike armor. Oh man, when this book came out, all the dwarves were wearing them. Like all the dwarf characters that played at my table. Page 103. Were wearing them. Like this thing was super famous. But I can't find it anymore. So, I hope it's somewhere here. Anyway, what do we have? That Alright. Dwarf in spike armor fighting alone amidst orcs and trolls in various locations. The image surmounting the others has the same dwarf standing on a small mountain of ogre bodies. Warwick was a dwarven battle rager. Yeah, boy. Alright, famed for single-handedly felling a whole tribe of ogres in their own mountain cave. Wow. Warwick is the badass dwarf. Okay. A character who shows their own toughness and willingness to shed their blood by injuring them. Oh, okay. That's not cool, Warren. A character who shows their own toughness and willingness to shed their blood by injuring themselves for 10 points of damage. Receive Warwick's favor and a bonus of 1d8 die of damage in a single melee attack. Everything was cool, Warwick. Wearing the spike armor, attacking, going towards a whole tribe of ogres in their own cave. And then the way to please you is through self-harm. No, thank you. All right. Almost cool. I thought if we wear like your armor, we wear spike armor, and we will look cool, we gain your favor. Then yes. Okay. Grufid. Room L. The door in this room is entirely unadorned and is the only one that is initially shut. So if we succeed on investigation, finds a small switch that unlocks it. Otherwise, physically interacting with this door shocks the first character to touch it, dealing lightning damage and producing sound like a deflating balloon followed by a distant laughter, after which the door swings open. Okay. So it's like when you handshake like a clown and they have that thing that kind of electrocute you a little bit. But this time it's a door. Grufid was an odd dwarf, always seeking out new tricks and pranks to play. The hand buzzer. Yeah, there you go. Pranks to play on his fellows. While it frustrated them in life, his skill at deception was nearly unparalleled in his time. A character who successfully lie to Grufid with a deception check earns his favor. If they succeed on this check, Grufid shares one secret that enables the character to use their reaction to impose disadvantage on one attack of their choice during the adventure, which targets only that character. Nice. Alright, so I think Drufid. So who do I like here? I like Drufid. I think Drufid wins it all. Who else? I think that's it. Derry. I like Derry, the first one where we have to sing. Yeah, I think. And then Winter. Yes, and then Winter. Yeah. With being like having 6 levels of fighter gives you advantage. Alright, so those three. I like those three spirits. What happens after that? See the map in Appendix 3E. There's a singular large and ornately decorated sarcophagus on this level with a raised image on the surface that shows Bronwyn in a state of repose. If the adventurers approach the sarcophagus, Bronwyn herself appears to ask them if they have found the favor of the other spirits. Which is this room. Okay. Okay. Development. If the players are ready to move on to the next part of the adventure, they can answer Bronwyn in an affirmative and attempt to, DC 30 charisma check, persuasion check. This check is reduced by 1 for each ancestral spirit. Wait, there's only JKL. JKL. So there's, 12? So if you... Although the characters cannot gain advantage on this check for assisting each other, Bronwyn has claimed down, has been considering the benefits of the potential joining her clan to Rustfire in their current situation. She's aware of what happened with Shale Rustfire and the role the players may have played in his rescue. Okay. But yeah, 13 minus 12, if you do all 12, that's going to be 18. That's still high. If you have the story award, Savior of Shale Rustfire, they gain advantage of the check. If we have the Death of Shale Rustfire, then Bronwyn views them with even deeper suspicion. They gain disadvantage on the check. So if we haven't played that adventure, then you just please as many spirits as you can, because if you don't please at least 10, then it's going to be higher than DC 20. That's a lot. Success on this check means that Bronwyn has warmed up to the adventurers and provides them with a warning of their enemies at the start of their final encounter. Failure means that Bronwyn has decided only Winnow herself is worthy of further consideration. In either event, Bronwyn magically shifts aside the lid to her sarcophagus, allow Winnow to take her adamantine chain shirt and do with it as she pleases as a sign of good faith. She also imparts the following information. The true danger to the dwarves is only just now being revealed. A darkness has settled about the place she calls the Carewell. The Carewell is a moonwell hidden beneath the fair heights. More information about the location and the moonwells and the moonshays is kept in tomes that she's been safeguarding below the vault. Oh, okay. The moonwells are pools of fresh water sacred to the druids of the Earth Mother and reputed to have magical powers. The moonwells were, in times long past, corrupted and turned into magical portals from which all manner of twisted creatures emerge. There's another moonwell on Oman, and she suspects that the Fomorians may be trying to somehow connect that one to the Carewell. So that's how the Fomorians, or the creatures of Queen Koname, can travel from Oman to Alaron. They're using the Carewell. It's a corrupted moonwell from the looks of it. After sharing this information, Bronwyn reveals the entry to the library hidden at the far end of the room, and either wishes the party good luck while offering them the gilded death mask that sits on her corpse, or unceremoniously vanishes back into her sarcophagus if they fail to gain her favor. Alright, this is the last part. We're almost done. This is going to be fast. Okay. What do we have? Once Bronwyn has revealed the entrance to the library, Winnow urges the adventurers to quickly go and get the information they seek. But Priumbrant has sent more than one group to clear the tunnels, and the failure of the others to report has caused her to redirect her forces in the character's direction, in our direction. The walls at the far end of the room from the stairwell by which you entered grinds its way slowly down into the floor. Alright. Winnow ushers you forward and down yet another spiraling staircase into the darkness below. Okay. The room beneath is not large, perhaps 30 feet by 40 feet. But its walls are covered in shelves on which sit dusty tomes, scroll tubes, and carefully stacked stone slabs. Some of the shelves bowed under the weight. Two more shelves are freestanding in the middle of the room, evidence that there simply wasn't enough room for all the documents that the dwarves considered important enough to hide here. Oh, I need access to this library. So we have Appendix 3F. Let's go look. This is the room. Okay. And this is the last room. Okay. Oops, sorry. All right. As we begin to move into the room, allowed to begin searching the shelves for valuable information. Tell us what we can learn here. Among the volumes and scrolls are numerous historical deeds and claims, genealogies, and mining and smithing treatises and histories. They also find a spell scroll of ceremony, spell scroll of mind spike, and once they've settled into the room a bit, another shadow dancer tries to jump into the room, followed closely by 2 orc red fangs of Shargos. These creatures are moving swiftly but quietly and may surprise a character who don't have a passive perception of at least 18. An orc blade of Inaval brings up the rear, shouting that Priumbrand must have their heads. And Bronwyn Oakwood, if the characters gain Bronwyn's favor, she flies into the room a moment before the enemies enter, shouting for them to watch out. If they fail to gain her favor, she gives them no warning and doesn't participate. Okay. And in turn, the enemies get a surprise round. Okay. If they gain her favor, Bronwyn also flies around during combat and aids the players by using the help action. Okay, nice. The shelves, the 2 freestanding shelves are covered in important volumes but can still be toppled with effort. Anyone who makes a DC 23, that's another high save for tier 2. Athletics check can knock one over, causing it to fall on adjacent spaces in the direction opposite of the character. Anyone in those spaces at the time must make a strength saving throw or be knocked prone and restrained by a heavy shelf until they take an action to free themselves. The orc leader has a belt pouch containing assorted coins. Shadow Dancer also has a pouch with a small onyx dragon statuette like the one found earlier. So we can have 2 figures. Nice. This one is finer craftsmanship and is embedded with a semi-precious gem. This is like a, I don't know, version Ka or something, like an upgraded version of the first figure. The name Priumbrand is also carved into the base of the statue. Oh, this one has a name. With a history check reveals that this is the name of a shadow dragon. Doubtless the force that has made its lair at the Carewell. Okay, tricks of the trades, how we fight, all good. And then conclusion. Okay, we're done. That's it. After the fighting has died down, the players can finish searching the library to find everything they're looking for. Among the tomes is the one that Bronwyn mentioned, giving the location of a Carewell in a secured passage beneath the cairn of Cymric Hugh. For those who don't know, Cymric Hugh is the first High King of the folk. So, with Karzagot the Beast and everything attacking, Cymric is the one who, together with his tribe, defeated Karzagot or Khazgoroth. And he was the first one that was named High King of the Moonshae Isles, or High King of the folk. And then the Kendricks and the previous High Kings families, they're all kind of like took the name, if not related, then took the name of Cymric Hugh and made some changes. Nice. So to get to Carewell, we need to secure a passage beneath the cairn of Cymric Hugh, an old hero of the folk the Moonshaes. The volume describes the location and appearance of the cairn, not far east among fair heights. If the players have not pieced together the clues about the dragon from the statuettes and comments the enemies have made, Winnow speaks up and says that it seems as though this Priumbrant is the darkness lairing near the Caerwell. If Bronwyn is right, it may have made an alliance with the orcs and the Fomorians of Queen Conome and may be preparing to bring more dark forces through the Caerwell from Oman. The adventurers are desperately needed to help prevent a terrible possibility and end the dragon's threat once and for all. And that will conclude the trilogy of the Fairheight. That's it. It's done. So this adventure is mostly, to make us understand what's happening in this trilogy, right? It's like a info dump in the form of an adventure. Like, this is what's happening. There are basically 3 groups that are attacking the dwarves: the orc tribe, the Fomorians of Queen Conome, and the dragon. And how are the Fomorians getting here? It's through the Caerwell, right? Cairnwell, which is probably a corrupted moonwell. And then that Cairnwell is connected to another moonwell in Oman. That's how they can travel here. Like the Fomorians can travel here from one isle to the other. And then protecting that Caerwell is this dragon. So if we defeat the dragon, we can prevent the Fomorians from traveling to Aileron. And if the dragon and the Fomorians are no longer allied with the orc, then it's going to be easier for the dwarves to defeat the orc tribe. That's it. And that is it for this adventure. So a lot of orcs. There's some fighting. I like the ghost rooms. But yeah. We got introduced to the dragon. We got introduced to Queen Conome. But we don't get to fight those two. So that is the only thing that made me feel like this adventure feels a bit hollow, because those 2 named enemies were introduced, but we don't get to fight them. And in part 3, are we just fighting the dragon, or are we also facing or having an encounter with Queen Conome, right? If not, then just going to be the dragon. Because a good build-up will be Adventure 1, you fight the orcs. Adventure 2, we fight the dragon. And then Adventure 3 is Queen Conome, right? That has a smoother flow for me. And also it kind of increases in story-wise, like the depth and the enemy that we're facing as well. Like from a small, not really small, but just from the normal orc tribes, enemy orc tribes. Then we fought a shadow dragon, and then one of the queens, a queen from the Feywild. There. But we'll see tomorrow what's here. I like all the orcs that are included here. I like the introduction of the enemies, and I like the like the spirit ancestors of the Rook-Oats appearing here. Do I like it that it's a Rustfire that discovered all of this? No. Because again, after reading 3.1, I don't kind of like... Actually, I just don't like Norbert Rustfire. But it's kind of affecting me, to hate the whole Rustfire. Because they brought this problem to Aileron. And now the Rook-Oat clan is kind of suffering because of that. Anyway, we get the item Adamantine chain shirt. Does it have... and then we have the information. You have stats. What else do we have here? The maps. And then the magic item, which this is the last page. All right, let me scroll up. Does it have any flavor? The chain shirt shows no signs of its age, but gleams brightly, showing off the fine rune work that contains Bronwyn Rookout's personal emblem, which is, we don't know what it looks like. Anyway, that is it. That's the end of 2-2. That was I thought it was going to be long because there are 4 parts and then introduction, but that was actually fast. That was a lean adventure, I would say. Good format. Easy to understand. I didn't really have any problems reading it. Revisiting this was fun. Thanks. Is this Ted? Is this the author here? Hi, Ted. All right. Yeah. And you know what? This is really fun. I like it. Again, the ancestors that we have, that was fun. Again, I almost like the Spike guy. I want to like the Spike guy, but no. But Winter and the one where we can sing, that one is good. Yeah. And yes, Ted, this is amazing. I hope you wrote more Moonshay adventures because I would love to read more. But no, writing wise, I think it was pretty lean because again, we thought it's gonna be long, but when we read it, it went pretty fast and we understood what happened. And that's what's important, especially if you're a dungeon master. Like in one read, you understand what's going on right away. And with the maps, it's pretty clear what's going on. And yeah, so in 3-1, we were in trying to save Shale Rustfire and Blackstone. In 3-2, this one, we went to the tunnels of Dwarvenholm. Part 3, are we gonna be in Gwyneth or is it still gonna be in Dwarvenholm? Because again, I think we're trying to retake the Dwarven lands, right? So I'm assuming it's just the Rustfire because the Rustfire is the only one who ran away. So are we gonna go under the Cambro Mountains and fight the dragons and Queen Koname, or are we just gonna go to the Carewell and that's where we fight the Shadow Dragon? Because they said that the lair of the Shadow Dragon, Penumbrant, is where the Carewell is at. So there, that is it. Good job, everyone. Good job, sages. To those who stayed, thank you. I hope you learned a lot. We learned a lot, right? I learned a lot. It's like staring right in my face. I didn't even know that Vortomil is mentioned on the map. And it's right there. I was just ignoring it this whole time. No, we know that there's another Fey influence here in the Moonshay Isles, and it's not under the command of Sarifal or Winterglen or the Miss Hag Orphania, or we'll never know. Maybe Queen Koname and Orphania have an alliance, or maybe Queen Koname reports to Orphania. We never know. But good job in incorporating this lore. At least now we learned something here. Good. So another thing I'm thankful for this adventure. And yeah, it's so glad that I'm streaming again. It feels good, you know, because again, I'm doing this because it's part of my job as a storyline lead. I need to get as much lore as I can. But maybe other people don't have the time to read adventure or to run adventures or play adventures. So we read through them. We try to extract as much lore. And we try to become high sages in terms of Moonshay lore. We get like masterals or doctorate in terms of knowing the Moonshays. Once we're done with Moon 20, we're going to have like a exam and see who passes, right? We should have an episode like that. And I think that is it. So next, tomorrow I have no folk doctorate. Yep, that's what we're gonna have. Tomorrow we're gonna, let's see, do I have it here? I think I have it here. Tomorrow, this is what we're gonna read. I think we already know where we're going. Let me adjust this. As the title says, beneath the carawell. I think this is where we're going. And that's what we're going to read tomorrow. We're going back to the normal time slot, 11 p.m. Manila. That's 10 a.m. Eastern time. And then, yeah, that's it. I don't feel like a sage at this point, but Moonshea aficionado. You know what? We're gonna fake it until we become sages. All right, just own it. Okay, and we're almost there. We're almost done with Moon 3. Just 17 more to go. That's easy. Okay. All right, so that's it for me. Again, I am Dion Paul G. You can find me on Twitter, social media. You can find me on YouTube. If you want to play games with us, we're at Balman Games. We have a lot of online games we offer every month through Virtual D&D Weekend. You can check us on Twitter as well, Balman Games, or you can just go to Yawning Portal and check the games there with all the awesome DMs that we have. We just finished Winter Fantasy and premiered 7 adventures, including an epic, which is a multi-table adventure for the new storyline in the Moonshea Isles called Malefic Delusions. I hope the people who played it had fun and enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll be producing more Moonshea Isle adventures for you while I'm here. And with that, that's it, sages. See you tomorrow, 11 p.m. Manila, 10 a.m. Eastern. And peace. Bye-bye.